Welcome to James D. Knowledge CP Edit. The following video is a short video on the process of converting your LLC to an S corporation. There might be a few reasons why you would want to do this. One is for many people, their personal return, they don't want to necessarily file a personal return. That includes a Schedule C as part of their personal return. There's a lot of reasons for it. Um, a single member LLC files as a Schedule C. So that would be a reason why you would not want to use the single member LLC for it and convert to an S corp. You can reduce, not necessarily eliminate, but reduce your exposure to Social Security and self-appointment taxes. Retirement planning, aggregation of your assets under a plan that you control is much better than an S corporation. It is far better suited to include a spouse as both an owner and an employee. It's also a better target if you were to have children as your employees. And then finally, the IRS historically has significantly lower product rates for S corporations than they do other business ones. So to do a conversion, you have both federal requirements and you have California requirements. Typically, you take care of the federal requirements first. You do so by filing Form 2533. And this is due by 3/15 of the year you're in. Let's say you miss it. Let's say that you don't get it filed by 3, but you still want to become an S corp, and you'd like to have it retroactive to the beginning of the year. Well, you could still do it, and there's a good way to do it. There's a revenue procedure that outlines the method by which you do this. The IRS doesn't have to accept it. However, as a general rule, they will. We filed this according to this revenue procedure in order to get a backdated election approved. It's really important that you specify the date that you want this to be. If you are ambiguous in any way, they will move it forward to a future year. All of this assumes that in your newly formed S corporation that you will establish a payroll for yourself. It is what gives the IRS justification for allowing this conversion, because now you're becoming an employee of your own company. The IRS does accept most of these filings, but they do not have a requirement to accept them. Therefore, we're very careful we should use it done right. It's important to note this is considered a very much a summary, not in-depth discussion. If you're going to be this yourself or go to outside counsel, it's great, but you'll need a deeper understanding of this. This is not legal advice. California has its own set of requirements. After you've completed the federal requirements, you can now move to California. The first step is Form LLC 1A. This is the form that you file with the California Secretary of State. It lets California know that you're converting from an LLC to a corporation. After you've completed that, you do have to do a statement of information for the newly recognized S corporation. And California charges fees of $150 to do the conversion. To stay in compliance on the federal side, you will need to get a California be the payroll member for the entity if you don't already have one. And that is support for the idea that you of them do a payroll for yourself. Once all that's complete, or once you understand all of that, this is the form that we file in order to get the IRS to accept your entity as a S corporation. You'll see here that you've got a big open space in column I, or in section I. That's where we use the language that gets the IRS to accept the late filed returns if you file them after March 15. Note that there's a signature on the bottom here. There's also signature spots for every S corporation owner on page 2. So he could have 3 owners, one of which is the signing officer. The signing officer signs page 1. All of the owners must sign the S election on page 2. California's Form LLC 1A is also something that needs to be filed. We filled this out for you. In essence, it's basically saying this is what you were, this is what you are now. So we do these conversions for our clients. And what I like to get is lay out what we include in our services and what we do not. So what did we get? We prepared your 2553. We prepare the LLC 1A. We get a statement of information filing, and we get you your EDB payroll number. We charge $350 to complete those services. California charges you $150. The total is a $450. Built into our fees, I allow myself 1 hour of follow-up and supervision on these forms. Most of the time, that is enough. It rarely would take more than that. The actual prep and the forms done by my staff, but this is a pretty reasonable amount of time for this. If I go over an hour, or if I know I'm going to go over an hour, I will stop and I will call you. We'll have a discussion on what's an issue and what needs to be done. So that's what's included. What's not included. The most important thing really would be the payroll. Payroll is a different engagement entirely. Some people like paychecks. Some people like EDP. I don't pick the payroll service necessarily, while I can help from like that. There's a lot of variation in how payroll is won. So that is something that we handle separately. Quite often this ends up with a payroll service. The other thing that's not included would be the additional time needed if, in fact, we run into complications on it. So that's basically it. If you need some help with this, more than happy to get it here. You have all of our contact information on the bottom. If you're our client, you already have all this. Feel free to reach out and we'll get out for you. Thank you.